Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I used to have a great joke that started each of these sessions wherever in the world I was presenting, and it's quite complex, and it involved about the sort of a line about not presenting anywhere where the local football team could beat my football team. Given we're in Barcelona, that joke is now sort of doesn't really work, because Barcelona can clearly beat everybody at just about everything in every competition. But it's very excited to get caught up in it last night, trying to get here. So thank you very much for inviting me here. It's interesting that the session was sort of set up as partnerships, but when I was sort of spoken to on the phone, I think clearly there was an idea that maybe I could come here and say something controversial. That is quite really a potential partner in the directories business, or are we a direct and outright competitor to the directories business? Is this the new model going forward? I think sometimes we're also not 100% sure of the answer to that question, but we're certainly very open to all we can do is concentrate on what we do, why we do it, and try and be good at it. And we are certainly very open to discussions and potential partnerships with others who will do a lot of things way better than we will ever do. So I think it does raise some interesting things. So all I'm going to talk about is why we do what we do. A little bit about where the money comes from, because obviously we're in this sort of social media, user-generated content landscape, and the big question there is, how do you ever make any money? And if I've got the time, I'll try and finish very quickly with just sort of some of the things that we're looking at and how we think these things are going to develop going forward. So sort of the one generic slide on who we are, if you don't know us. We are the largest user-generated local review site across Europe. I guess we're across Europe, and we also have that nice little flag up in the top left-hand corner, which is in Brazil. It was a dirty job, but somebody had to go and do it, and it seemed important at the time. It's the wonderful thing about nice Web 2.0 companies. You meet a Brazilian developer, and you think, why not? Let's have a Brazilian site. But we like the fact that we're becoming the market leaders in really all the European countries, certainly in UK, France, Germany, and increasingly Spain, at a user-generated content level. And there's really nobody else who is doing so well at a local level, but also able to do this in multiple countries, in multiple languages. And indeed, we pride ourselves on the fact that, yes, we have 9 different country sites, but through those sites you can go in and find content in 6 different languages. You can use the site in any language you want, and you can read the reviews in any of the languages that we offer. Growing very dramatically. We will soon be hitting 10 million unique users. We're up sort of 350, nearly 400% on this time last year. And again, we're getting sort of a couple of thousand new reviews every day into the business, which is just constantly driving content, which obviously drives users. So that's sort of who we are and what we do. It's user-generated content, user-generated local reviews, and allowing people to find that content and make choices about where to eat, where to go, where to shop, based around other people's recommendations and ideas. So why do we do what we do? Why do we think this is a model for the future? It's fairly obvious that as we look around us that fundamentally the technology is changing all the roles that we can all have, and the roles that users can have on the web. It has never been so easy for individuals to create content. The creation of content used to be the preserve of experts. It used to be the preserve of people who owned the means of distribution. But now it has never been so easy to create content, and it has never been as easy to share and distribute that content. The previous speaker touched on sort of Facebook and MySpace. The minute I have something to say, the minute I have a piece of content, a blog or something that I've written, I can disseminate that to hundreds of close friends and potentially make it searchable and findable by thousands and millions of others. So fundamentally, if you're on the web, you have to recognize that the world has changed and that users' involvement has changed. And what I think that means at the most simple level is that if you have a web service, the presentation of just core facts, data, listing is not enough. That is not enough to create a sustainable audience. There is maybe only one global player, and that is Google, that has cornered the market in the sort of key sort of information of just find me a piece of data, pass me through to that piece of data. Just about all of the rest of us have to find ways to stimulate, to engage, to entice and involve users in what we do, because otherwise they will simply go somewhere else. You can do all sorts of, sort of complex, wonderful graphs of what's going on, but one of the ways I like to think about it is the sort of the way we've developed from the sort of mass media. We've really gone full circle from a many to back to many, but from mass media, which was again somebody having the ability to simply program a message and broadcast a message to millions of people. Then increasingly the technology got more sophisticated and we all became interested in personalization. The ability for me to start selecting the bits of content that I want, to get a given website to look like the way I want it to look. But I think what we're really doing now is moving into this next generation, this we media. This is where it's back to the many, but it's many interacting with many. And at the heart of that, and at the heart of what Quip does, but at the heart of so many things now, it's about community. It's about sharing. It is absolutely what the web does best. It is about connecting and sharing. Yes, you can find stuff, but it's about connecting and sharing with other people. One of the nice ironies is in many ways it has come full circle. You know, the history of the web, it started with people figuring out, Tim Berners-Lee and others at CERN, figuring out how to talk to each other and share data. We then went through a phase where it was just, let's send everybody emails, let's bash out loads of standard messages, and we've really entered back into the territory enhanced by phenomenal technology to allow people to share and connect in real time on an ongoing basis. So that says something very important, and that's sort of the bit of the web that we are very interested in, a community, when people start talking and sharing with others. Because when they start talking and sharing, they can start creating content, and they can start bringing, these users, real people, can start bringing content, insight, points of data that static information and expert information will never ever provide. This is a slightly old example now. Seat Guru has gone a bit, I think, dull recently, but it was one of the early players where, yes, you can go to British Airways, Iberia, American Airlines websites and look at the plane and select your seat. But what Seat Guru allowed people to do was start tagging and commenting on certain seats. What does it look like? Where were you? Did you have enough leg room? What else could you do? Can you see the movie from seat 7D? But no, you can't, but you can from 6A. Now, you can only do that with real people, and you can only do that by having millions of people or thousands of people contributing, so that you start having a complete landscape, and that is constantly changing and updating. So it's this unique insight that isn't going to come from one organisation. It isn't going to come from one expert. It's going to come from other real people who've had that experience telling other people what they think is important. And then that being built up because thousands and hundreds of thousands of people do it, which gives you a context and a depth to understand. So to say, why do we do what we do? Well, we've seen that it's, a lot of where the web is going is about stimulating, engaging. It's about bringing together people in communities and allowing them to share. And when people come together in communities and start to share, then they start creating new content and unique insight that no expert will ever be able to provide. The next element is how that comes together. And this, I think, is really relevant for our business and for, I'm sure, many people in the room, because the big challenge is how you find this information. If there's going to be lots of data, lots of content, unique insight, unique tags,